We are once again here at Ozarks Homesteading Expo 2024 here on our set right here in Marshfield, Missouri. And to this man to my left, although he needs no introduction, we'll give him one. This is Joel Salatin with Polyface Farm, one of the speakers here. And in fact, I'd say the keynote speaker here at the expo. And many of y'all may know who he is. If you don't, you need to get out from under the cave and out of the rock you're living in and kind of get out there and, come out to one of these events. But Joel, I just want to say welcome to the set of the Farm to Table Direct Show. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's a delight to be with you.
Absolutely. Well, Joel, listen, we were talking just a minute ago about, y'all's history a little bit there at Polyface Farm. And we know you didn't start in Virginia. Y'all kind of came here, in fact, even from out of the country. And if you could share a little bit of that with us.
It's a very unique story. So my dad was in the Navy in World War II.
Okay.
And came out as a veteran, and on the GI Bill went to Indiana University. He was from Indiana.
Right.
Went to IU, got a degree in business and economics, business administration. And as a teen, he had decided I want to farm. He really wanted to farm, but you don't have any land, you don't have any money. What do you do? And so he concocted a plan to go to a developing country and start a farm. Well, where land is cheaper.
Right.
And so, how do you do that? So anyway, he got his degree. Then he went to Middlebury in Vermont for a semester in Spanish, hitchhiked from Vermont to Mexico, and lived with the family for 6 months, came back and sat for the Foreign Civil Service exam in Spanish, passed it the first time, and got on with Texas Oil Company as a bilingual accountant in Venezuela.
Wow.
This was 1948, 49,
right.
The beginning of OPEC, the beginning of the oil exploration. And because it was an American company, but so the administration and management was all done, by Americans, but the workers were Venezuelans.
Right.
And the tension was always about money. So they wanted these bilingual accountants to be able to deal with the money. 7 years, he saved up enough money to buy a 1,000-acre farm in Venezuela. And by that time, he'd married mom, they had us two of us boys. I had a younger sister later, but anyway, started farming, started selling chickens. The dream was, let's do chickens and dairy. And so he started selling chickens, and all the indigenous chickens had subtherapeutic pneumonia from lack of hygiene, open sewers and just not
right.
clean. And they all had this snot, nasal drip from there. And so the middlemen were always looking for clean chickens. And when Dad, those Latin American markets, the town square,
everything's live.
Yeah, everything's live, and you got these vendor stands,
right.
and the farmers come in. Well, in just weeks, Dad literally cornered the local chicken market because our chickens were clean. They didn't have the
drip,
snot,
right? Keep
the drip,
healthy.
Nasal drip. And so the farmers accused us of witchcraft and some sort of voodoo.
Right.
Yep, voodoo. And so then a couple of years later, then there was a junta. Which is, what happens a lot in these countries, and in 1959. And when there's chaos in a country, it gives license for scores to be settled that wouldn't be settled under normal conditions.
Right.
And so basically, it gave license for us to be run out of the country, and we fled the back doors. The machine guns came in the front door, and lost everything.
Wow.
And so that was our Venezuela experience. So Easter, we stayed in the country for another, 8 or 9 months, while Dad met with every, ag minister, interior minister, secretary of the treasury, whatever. And nobody would give us the time of day. And so there wasn't anything to do but to walk away and leave it. And Dad was 39 at the time. And I remember when I hit 39 thinking, man, if I lost it all, would I start over again? So that's how we ended up in Virginia. Both Mom and Dad's families were in the Midwest, but Dad had been there 12 years. He loved the country. He loved the people. He loved the culture. Loved everything about it. And he was still hoping when things settle, we'll go back, because that was his whole life equity investment, dream.
Right.
And so rather than settling in the Midwest, he wanted to be within a couple of hours of DC, to where if things settled, he could be within hours. He could be at the Venezuelan embassy, sign papers, and we could be back. And of course, that never happened.
Right.
But that's how we ended up in Virginia.
Okay.